Hello and welcome to the Rant Shop. I guess today's Saturday, the 17th of September, so now I'm having my midlife crisis. I'm 45 now, as you can see my hair, or lack of thereof. Anyway, so I've been feeling kind of lazy because I'm used to having like 14 jobs, and like for the last, 3-4 years since I got things under control and quit trying to keep up with the Joneses, just been doing one job. I still work about 50 hours a week, but just been feeling, what the fuck am I going to do the rest of my life? Been in the same place for like 30 years. Why is that cutting in and out? Hello and welcome to the Rant Shop. It's been a little while since I had a rant. I've been waiting on some new stuff to get here, and I'm still waiting on a new camera, so I'm doing this with like my webcam. So, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've just been listening to a bunch of shit and just kind of thinking about what the fuck I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Been feeling kind of a little lazy because I'm used to working like 7-day-a-week paper outs, this, that, and the other thing, and all of a sudden, I'm just doing one job and I'm getting by, and because I'm not keeping up with the Joneses no more, but just trying to think, what the hell to do, just kind of feeling lazy. And I like to perform. I'm not the best singer in the world, but I still go out there and sing. There ain't really no money in it, unless I guess you make it big. I guess there's money there, but from what I hear, you can't make no money doing that either. But so I'm just reflecting, and I'm looking at all these people that come to work and hate their fucking job, and it's like, this ain't the dream job, but I don't hate my job. I don't wake up, put my foot on the floor, and say, can't fucking stand it. What am I gonna do? And fucking bitch and pissing mine off fucking day, like most of these people do. And I kind of had like this epiphany of this guy that works for me. He's, I wouldn't say he's not smart. He just most intelligent person if you're talking to him something that he really cares about, and I guess that's the bottom line. But he's been with me like 15 years, almost 20 years, and I've never heard him complain one time. Shows up to work every day, doesn't even take his vacation time. You never hear him complain about money. You never hear him complain about women or lack thereof. But he just leads a simple life, and he seems really happy, you know what I mean? He don't live in a fortress. He lives in an apartment. His favorite thing to do is to work on an old car. And to him, it's the greatest thing in the world. And, he trying to figure out why everybody else can't be like that. I was just the type of person that if you told me I couldn't do something, I worked real hard to do it, and that was enough drive for me. But if you really think about it, what is it, okay? So you might have had a bad day at home, or your bills are piling up, or this or that, or you ain't where you think you're supposed to be. I'm almost kind of wondering if it isn't like TV, which I don't watch any of hardly. What I see is with my wife, the real housewives of really fake shit. They live in houses that most people can't afford. They can't even afford them. They're driving cars, going on these vacations, and doing all this stuff. The normal person, even a successful person, wouldn't have the time, one, to do these vacations. And if they spent the money trying to look that rich, they could make $400,000 a year and still be in the poorhouse, just like you and me, waiting for their next check to come in to buy the next greatest thing in the world. So Timmy next door thinks you're great because you got a $50,000 car in your driveway. Think about it, These kids coming up today got to have a cell phone. That's $60-$70 a month. Got to have a car. You can't buy a car for under 25-30 grand. So with insurance, that's $500 a month. You have an internet access, that's $70-$100 a month, unless you want some crappy AT&T dial-up shit. Then if you get cable, that's another $100. Then if you find a really cheap place to live, which is very hard to do, that's another $500 a month. These kids got to make $500 a week just to break even. They ain't even ate yet, you know what I mean? So that's just to have everything that everybody wants. Now, granted, you got to have a cell phone. I get it. I didn't have a cell phone because they didn't. Well, I guess they did have them. They were those big suitcase type things, cost $9 a minute. I didn't have one of those. Had piece of shit cars. And And I was still kind of happy. I mean, we weren't happy come Wednesday when we were broke and had to wait till Friday. But when Friday come, we were happy. And we went and got something to eat like a Tubby's. Buy one, get one free. That was a night on the town, you know. And looking back, if I look back after the 14 jobs I have had to try to keep up with the Joneses, I could probably be retired right now. I could probably retire now, go work at McDonald's because, you know, I don't have a house payment because I don't live in a mansion. But if I know what I knew now, then I'd probably still live about where I'm at. Wouldn't have spent as much, would have paid for it 15, 20 years earlier. And would have been wiser with my musical choices. I mean, I wouldn't have bought gear for 20 loser musicians my whole career. I'd always buy them the best of shit so we could have it, thinking that, you know, I'm going to get this dream of making money. The only person who makes money is the music business, not the artist. There are exceptions, just like the Bill Gates is an exception to the entrepreneur, or the fucking AOL people or Apple people. You're talking very few. Not that you can't do it. Anything's possible. But majority of people, a good job's making 100, 200 grand a year. And 200 grand a year really isn't that much money if you're living in $1 million house and driving, you and your wife driving new cars, and Timmy and Jimmy having the best of everything. Not that I didn't try to get that for my kids either, but, you know, it's because TV tells you that this is how you have to live. When really you could have just had modest used car, drove it till the doors fell off, and then get another used car, drive it till the doors fall off. You know, that's 20 years instead of getting one of the leases now. You go 2 years and turn it in, get a new one. I mean, why don't you be more like MH, where, you know, he bought a used car. I think he's on year number 7. And the other day, one of the people at work asked him, he's like, why are you going to fix the leaf spring on your car? Just go buy a new one. And this is coming from a guy who ain't got 2 nickels to rub together, you know what I mean? Because he spends it faster than he gets it, and he's worried about, I got to have a new car. You know what? He's happy. Thing's paid for. It's been paid for. When he gets his check on Friday, if he wants to go buy a wrench, he can go buy a wrench. He don't have to buy a wrench and not pay this bill or that bill, or do this or do that, or look at me or look at that. You know, most of those people, I think, are just insecure about themselves. I did it mostly because I wanted my wife to have everything. You know, it wasn't as much for me as it was, I wanted, you know, I don't want her friends to think she's living in a scuzz hole house. And, you know, I mean, think about it. If you watch TV on these home improvement shows, for instance, they go and they redo a house and they put all these high-end cabinets and tiles and this and that and everything, and they're all done, and they're like, yeah, we got $30,000 in renovation. I'll kiss your ass. You go to Home Depot and have that, just the kitchen put in, and it's 30 grand. Granted, if you can do it yourself, it's a little cheaper. But why can't you just put like nice white cabinets in, or whatever color, the low grade? Why do you have to have the $4,000 countertop and the $6,000 tile when you can get $600 tile that looks just like the $6,000 tile? It's like the designer things, because the name's on the back, still made with leather. This leather's Versace or whatever, because I'm not in the trends. I don't know. And that leather was made by Kmart. What's the difference? Well, because people will know that that's not a real purse, you know. So, you know, the faster you can come with grasp with reality that, you know, you got to live for you and not for the people around you. You're not in fucking school no more. You know, who are you trying to impress? You don't want your kids, I guess, to go to school and not have the things the other kids have. Okay, so you do it for your kids, let's say, okay, if you have children. But don't go overboard. I mean, my kid didn't drive a brand new car. I got him a decent car. And when he went to college, it was a decent car, and he finally just bought his first new car, which is a mistake we all make, because you're going to pay $500 a month, and you're going to give it back in 2 years and get another one. And we've all done it. I've done it. You're preaching to the choir here. I mean, I'm just trying to tell you what I learned, and wish they would teach some of this shit in school, because I think college is overrated. I did go back to college, but I went back to college after I already had 20 years of management experience learning business, and what they taught me wasn't, except for the profit side, wasn't really business, because they didn't really talk about people. And the way people think, and how you have a company. And I see it. People come in and they just hate their job. I don't think anybody at my work loves their job that works for me. I can't speak for the rest of the departments. I'm in the warehouse. But they don't hate it. Some days everybody hates it. It's just what it is. You're having a bad mood, bad week, whatever. Shit comes up, but they don't hate it. You know what I mean? So I'm not fucking off, and they're not fucking off, and we know we got to be there, so why be miserable? Why sit and complain? I get people that come into my shop, and they'll come pick up, and all they do is complain the whole time they're there. And it's funny. The biggest guy used to come in, and his thing, which I've said before, was he'd get mad at the company, so he was going to show them and not come in the next day to work without pay. That was showing him. So he ended up working into the front office, and they've got this new guy that's picking up, probably third generation new guy. He's been up there a year and a half. So, and one of the old drivers come back, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, yeah, he's the boss now. I'm like, how did he become the boss? How can you sit and complain about your company and become the boss? Well, I realized what he did. Once he went inside, he probably complained to the owners of the company how lazy everybody was there and how he did everything, which isn't the truth. I've seen this guy. He's not anything about the company. He's about himself. That's how he worked his way up top. Well, everybody around him knows that, so I got to imagine that's a pretty miserable company, but the other guys aren't coming in complaining. I'd pride this by asking. He used to come in, they make me come back. I'm going to not come in tomorrow. I'll show them. I don't get it. It just blows my mind, just people being miserable. It's because they want that American dream, that, Real Housewives of L.A. or whatever the fuck. Look, the one lady went to jail, right? For lying, fucking embezzlement, taxes, whatever it was. I'm not that into it. I just see bits and pieces, but they're both spending time in jail because they fucked the system. So how do they still live in this big fucking house? Buying new cars? Come on. That house has got to cost them $5,000-$6,000 a month. Anybody in the right mind had $5,000-$6,000 a month could live a really good life, have decent stuff, save and retire in 20 years. They could retire for about 15 minutes after that show stops, and they wouldn't own that house no more if they were doing it on a legit. Because I don't know any business that they have that's, you're not buying something that I know, except you're buying this fake reality shit. I would imagine most of that shit is probably donated them to be in the movies to get you to buy it or strive to want it. Most of the rich people, I go all over the United States, and I can go in 5 minutes and tell you if that company is successful that's working for us or not. And I've had little arguments about it, but I've called people out from the first second I've met him and said that guy's a snyster, and it took 2 years for it to come out that he's a snyster. I go to his place, and I'm going to do an audit, and as soon as I walk in, they ain't got no rubber bands for nothing because the boss won't do it, and I can't do this because the boss won't do it, and I can't take you back to the airplane. You have to wait for my lunch because the boss won't let me take this off or that. It was just so micromanaged, and the guy wasn't there, so he didn't even know what's going on. He's just barking orders, right? That's how you're going to do it. And he wonders why he doesn't have good people. And every time you call, what's the problem? Why is this happening? Hey, well, we don't have good people like you. Well, you don't have good people, first of all, if you treat them like shit. Secondly, you got to pay them. You don't have to pay him $1 million, but you have to treat him good and pay him decent. Decent isn't minimum wage. This is in California for all things. You know what I mean? California, 1,000 square foot house costs you $3,000 a month to rent it. And you're going to pay this guy minimum wage, no insurance, and then bitch and scream at him and wonder why they leave as soon as they can. There's a part where being treated good and pay, you got to consider both of them. If I get paid really good and get treated really bad, I'm skating. I don't want to be miserable. Who wants to go to work every day and hate going to work? Granted, might not be my dream job, or maybe it is. I really don't know what my dream job is. It would be something in speaking and entertainment. Maybe I'll become some motivational speaker, but I have to work on the motivation part. But I do have a lot of knowledge in distribution and things like that, so I could help companies, maybe, whatever. And I might do that. I'm open by 55. I could just freelance or do something, something different. Been there so long. Love the company. All about the company. And I could probably do that on the side, but I'm trying to think of something to do because, like I said, I'm 45, been in the same place forever, and I'm feeling kind of lazy. So anyway, I'm going to be doing rants and breaking people down on why they think about things and when I get my new camera, but I figured I'd come give a real quick rant so you guys didn't forget who I was, right? Hopefully by the next time I'll have some more hair. I doubt it. All right. Talk to you guys later.